Since Nigeria returned to democratic rule in 1999, the country had enjoyed smooth democratic process since that time. And every 4 years, Nigerians go to the poll to elect new leaders. Nigerians are warming up for another round of elections. And as Nigerians prepare for this civic responsibility, what should they be looking out for in their leaders? In this background, we'll get to know what Nigerians should be looking out for and what should shape the kind of decisions that they make at this time. Francis Obe is our guide.
It is another season of political campaigns in Nigeria. While some have started their campaigns, others are still strategizing. What should the electorate look out for in the candidate and political parties seeking their votes?
There's the urgent need for leaders that are credible, leaders that can be trusted. And the electorate should be looking for leaders who are going to work selflessly for this country and not leaders who will come and speak rhetorics and end up doing nothing. And in doing so, the issues of bigotry, sentiments should be done away with. Rather, we should look for leaders that can deliver, no matter from which part of the country they may come from. That is what is required at this very moment. Campaigns should be issues-based and not people coming in to tell lies and deceive Nigerians. Nigerians, on the other hand, should learn to avoid collecting stipends from politicians who would rather tell lies and who would prefer to buy these votes, because the politicians that pays to be in office will make sure that they recoup what they have spent, and definitely they will end up not working for Nigerians. So the politicians need to come down to our level, tell us what they can do in practical terms, and then get us convinced that these things can be done.
Democracy has been adjudged as the world's most accepted system of government. So, the need for full participation by all and sundry cannot be overstated. How can the media help to deepen the country's democracy, especially during this season of campaigns?
The media should avoid being judgmental over issues. The media needs to work towards enlightening and educating the electorate to enable them make informed choices. The cards should be laid bare. The various candidates should be exposed. And when I say exposed, you need to tell us their antecedents, what they have done before, what they can do, what they cannot do. The media should avoid making such decisions for the citizens. They should allow citizens to decide for themselves. But they should work towards bringing out a lot of issues surrounding all these candidates for Nigerians to know. You also need to talk to Nigerians in the languages they understand. Use Hausa, use Igbo, use Yoruba, use Igala, use Laka language, use Sayawa language. These indigenous languages are languages that Nigerians understand, and you need to talk to them in their languages. If you don't do that in the media, it is not late to start. It is very important that we talk to Nigerians how they will understand this.
As politicians seeking elective offices traverse the length and breadth of this country for support, citizens must be on the alert, as this is the season where there will be increased manipulation of media content to score cheap goals, especially on social media.
When the media content is manipulated, We need to sit down and look at it critically. We need to interrogate that. Between now and December and the time elections will hold, there will be a lot of such manipulations. Politicians are good at that. They will pay people who will continue to manipulate the media and tell lies to deceive the electorate. Now, it is the responsibility of professionals like you and I to critically look at this and to also educate Nigerians that look, this content is manipulated. This content is not true. That is our responsibility. Unfortunately, politicians have control of the media space because of the money, because of the resources available to them. And a lot of people are ready to work for them because of the little allowances they get, and of course what they can extract out of it to feed themselves and to survive.
The fact remains that unverified news on social media has never brought any form of positive change to society. Instead, it has caused mayhem. Little wonder there are arguments and counter-arguments as to the regulation of social media.
The social media, is very fast. You cannot regulate it. It's very comfortable for politicians to rely on the social media to cause a lot of mischief. We still go back to the issue of professional media persons who need to use also the social media space to correct some of these lies, some of these fake stories, some of these hate speeches. We cannot sit down and bemoan type of bad things that occur in the social media. Rather, we should use the platform of the social media to correct some of these bad things that occur, to inform Nigerians about some of these things, and to educate them. We should, as an electorate, resist the temptation of being used as pawns by these politicians. First, don't collect their money. Don't allow to be rented as a crowd for political reasons.
This is an interesting season as the race for the 2023 election gets closer. Weekend Deal today is captioned The Road to 2023.
A very interesting season in our political process indeed, and electorates are advised to make very informed decision at this time. And now, one thing that has become a pre-election ritual in our electoral process is signing of peace accord. And NTA Mina will be going to NTA Mina to tell us some of the role of stakeholders in this peace accord. I call it a pre-election ritual because it's one process that we have adopted as a nation in our electoral process. So let's see what NTA Mina has to say about this.
The National Peace Committee, chaired by His Excellency General Abdulsalami Abubakar, engaged all stakeholders, traditional rulers, religious leaders, politicians, and security outfits in an exclusive meeting on the need to have a peace accord towards the forthcoming electoral process. The outcome of the meeting necessitated the signing of the peace memorandum in Abuja.
All we'll do is to try to engage the political parties and also the citizens to do what they think is right. We all know what is right, and let's try to do as much as possible to ensure there is peace, because if there is no peace, there wouldn't be any country. So peace, peace, peace is the watchword. And by asking the contestants to sign this memorandum of peace accord, is to try to see how they can influence their supporters, their poor party people, to tone down on the rhetorics so that there wouldn't be any abusive campaign and so on and so forth. And hopefully, when they consider an election that is free and fair, to accept the result, because there is always going to be one winner when you are in a contest.
The impact of the peace accord is, among others, to maintain a united Nigeria devoid of hate speeches and ugly violence.
Whoever does not abide by the simple rules and regulations of peaceful coexistence is not supposed to exist. When you sign a peace accord, it's making you responsible and is also making you responsive. The kind of leaders we have today in Nigeria, they are there who are really conversing for peace and peaceful coexistence. It's not going to be a mere ritual. It's supposed to be real. It's supposed to be acted upon by those who have gone into that accord.
Up to now, it has just become a mere ceremony. Most electors do not take it as anything much. And even the principal people that are involved, they just think it's a process that is required. They will go and sign.
Yes, anybody attempting among these presidential aspirants, anybody that attempt to violate such agreement should face the consequences of the authority.
Some intellectuals are of the opinion that it will be a good development if it is enshrined in the constitution or electoral construction.
Yeah, the political landscape in Nigeria is already awash with electioneering campaign. What should be the content of these campaigns as Nigerians get towards 2023 general elections? On our roadmap to 2023 general elections, NTA Channel 10 Lagos is looking at the content of election campaigns in 2023.
As the campaign for the 2023 general elections kicks off, there are issues bothering the nation that are very critical. Nigerians look up to the political leaders to address basic fundamental issues like security, rising inflation, and power, education, and healthcare in their campaigns. But so far, the reverse seems to be the case. In recent development, all forms of strategies, including character assassination, ethnicity, and certificate issues, are put forward during campaigns intending to woo the sympathy of the electorate.
You can see the universities who have educational issues, especially in the tertiary institutions, particularly the universities. We have issues almost in every part and every sector of the economy. So the issues for campaign, the issues are there. And they can pick any of these issues and dwell on it, and their rallies will be made. Their manifestos are supposed to be drawn around these issues.
Howbeit, are voters ready to support the candidates based on the fundamental issues they seek to address or on ethnicity?
Whoever that gets there through our votes should follow that manifesto to the letter and see that these changes that we are looking forward to, clamoring for, really comes to pass.
If the voters don't want to hear all those base sentiments that the politicians will be raising, then they will not dwell on such. If the voters want to hear more about the problems of Nigeria right now and how these politicians will tackle them, then the politicians will be forced to address them. There is a difference between playing politics and addressing an issue. When a political party is saying there is insecurity in the country, and no matter what costs it, this is how I'm going to address it, that is issue-based campaign.
Regardless of the political campaign excitement, issues of national interest should be the focus, as this will greatly affect the outcome of the general elections.
Yeah, obviously, stakeholders are unanimous that the content of election should be issue-based. So electorates should look out for issues, the manifestos of all the political parties to make informed decision. And we're still in Lagos. Now we want to look at expectation of electorates as the electioneering campaigns continue and as they prepare towards the 2023 general elections. We're still in Lagos.
Electioneering campaigns and processes in preparation for the 2023 general elections are in top gear, with various political parties already reeling out campaign promises and manifestos to win the votes of the electorate ahead of the election period. To many electorates, these campaign promises and assurances from politicians are usual phenomenon at such a time like this. However, these promises have left them with disappointment on several occasions as their expectations are not fully met.
When they come, they promise all such a promise. At the end, no fulfill.
As the 2023 elections draw near, the expectations of electorates are that whoever will take leadership positions possess selfless qualities to deliver good leadership for the people. For example, Jonathan Uzo is a construction engineer who resides on the mainland and works on the island area of Lagos. He shares the transportation ordeal he encounters on a daily basis and what he expects from the incoming leadership in tackling the challenges in the transportation sector.
The area of transportation is really bad because imagine me coming from Costain, going to my place of work at Banana Island. I spend up to 2,000 naira go and come every day. How much is my take home? It's not something I can even tell. You get it? So coming to work alone going to work on a daily basis is a challenge.
Like Uzo, other respondents spoke on areas of their expectations from the government to make life bearable in the coming dispensation.
I expect the government to provide a better education for the young ones, good healthcare service, good roads, and better job employment for the job seekers.
We have bad roads everywhere, and Nigerians are generally suffering. So if the best person enters, he should do the best for us and use public money for public amenities and not for their pockets.
The issue of the ASU strike, they should, at least the children, they are now at home for over 7 months now. So they need to intervene in that aspect first. Our security challenges as well. So those are the things that I think they should look into before that general election to be in their manifestos.
I need a government that will listen to what is happening, not just to send people, go and do this, go and represent me, you are my personal assistant in this and that. You don't even want to come outside and know what is happening. So that's what we need. We need somebody that knows about the area and go out and see. So that's the kind of government we are expecting in 2023.
Above all, these respondents opine that the involvement of the Supreme Being in the helm of the country's affairs is the basis for the success of the leaders and a good life for all.
God will help them to achieve it on their own. That can do nothing. It's not easy to manage human beings, so we are very, very difficult to manage. Because some people will be laughing, some also will be doing what? Crying at the same time. And I believe God Almighty, God is with us here in this country. If not because of God, I don't know where this country would have been. So I believe God will help us so that whatever might be the desired enemies will not happen in this country.
It is hoped that the new leadership positions will be occupied with the right set of selfless individuals who will deliver on their political mandate of taking the country to a greater level in the coming years.
It's very obvious that Nigerians are full of expectations as they prepare for another round of election because the Nigerians want good life. And these expectations, of course, should form the decision that they make as they go to the polls. And now that the election campaigns are here, we need to know the INEC regulations on these campaigns. But for the electorates and for the political parties, Ayuba Tete will take us through some of these regulations of INEC.
The Nigerian general elections are to be held in the first quarter of 2023, specifically February and March respectively. But before the set date, aspirants from all eligible political parties will be trying their utmost best to garner votes to their cause from who they hope will elect them into their chosen positions. Throughout this process lies one certainty: elections cost money. From the initial acquisition of expression of interest forms to massive awareness campaigns before party primaries and after becoming party nominees. Other costs include adverts in print and electronic media, establishing and maintaining campaign offices, rallies, hiring security. The list seems to go on, and politicians are put under unimaginable pressure to deliver on all these demands and requirements. INEC has, however, been able to set limits to party operations as regarding contributions from members and supporters and donations from other organizations. Parties have been mandated to submit audited financial reports indicating outflows and inflows periodically. Legal stipulations, for instance, Section 88, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act provides that the maximum election expenses to be incurred by a candidate at a presidential election shall not exceed 5 billion naira. Subsection 3 states the maximum amount of election expenses to be incurred by a candidate in respect of governorship election shall not exceed 1 billion naira. Parties have also been warned against anonymous campaign donations, as there have been a series of debates on the legality of crowdfunding, including that from Nigerians in diaspora. Section 225, subsection 3 of the Constitution states, no political party shall A. hold or possess any funds or other assets outside Nigeria, or B. be entitled to retain any funds or assets remitted or sent to it from outside Nigeria. Regulatory laws like these are meant to even out the playing field within the parties and their candidates, giving all and sundry an equal chance to be voted, not by how much money they have, but by how competent the aspirants are. Even though some parties in the last presidential elections, monitored by INEC, exceeded the stipulated limits on expenditure, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has urged parties and candidates alike to carefully study the provisions of the Electoral Act and assured the general public that the Commission will pay particular attention to the parties' and candidates' conducts, and especially the campaign expenditures therein. There is an honest yearning to make sure that the next election will go down in history as the most credible in Nigerian democratic history. And with these various regulations put in place and duly enforced, it is every Nigerian's hope that that will be the case come 2023.
Yeah, we have the Electoral Acts 2023 that was signed into law, and these are to be the guide and shape the actions of both the electorates and the candidates and the parties during the elections, before, during and after the elections. And I think it's just good that both the electorates, the parties, and all stakeholders involved acquaint themselves with these electoral laws and the regulations, so that everybody will be able to act on the path of will not be acting on the path of ignorance. Okay, now it's good. We'll take a commercial break, and then when we return, we still have a lot of features for you on this roadmap to 2023 general elections. Yeah, thank you very much for being there. If you just joined us, you're on to the network service of the NTA, and the program is Weekend Deal. We're talking about roadmap to 2023 general elections. And now, talking about the roadmap to 2023 general elections, we're all stakeholders as individuals and institutions. Now, let us join Onyola Labi, who will be telling us about the role of religious and traditional rulers in the 2023 general elections.
Since Nigeria returned to democratic rule in 1999, we have had elections conducted under different situations with the hope of improving on the electoral processes and procedures. Traditional rulers are perceived as the custodians of our culture across the nation. They are supposed to be the epitome of neutrality in their respective domains. As the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has sketched out the roadmaps to 2023 elections, Nigerians are watching and eager to know how the traditional rulers would comport themselves.
We are not politicians, but we are custodians of the tradition. And whosoever that are coming unto us seeking for our vote as traditional leaders, we should welcome all of them, and our advice should be on a peaceful coexistence. our subject, we are advising them. That is, we cannot tell you this is who you are going to vote. Rather, we'll tell them, go and vote for the right person that you know that is, he will give all the dividends of democracy. In Abuja, the chairman of the traditional council cannot even tell anyone that this is a person I want you to go and vote. So whosoever that does that is like you are already one-sided.
Religion, either Christianity or Islam, is expected to exhibit all that is godly, expedient, and lawful in the society. Hence, religious leaders have the mandate to preserve this sanctity, even in the political arena. However, it is worrisome to find some religious leaders behaving contrary.
Every religious leader should mind his utterances. The calling of a Christian is to go and preach to the world, to get them converted from their evil way to Christianity, so that they can serve God in spirit and in truth. But when it comes to politics, well, somebody can decide to choose whatever he likes to do. When the religious leader gets to the arena where they are doing the voting, he is not supposed to go and be making any utterances. He needs to go there, cast his votes. After having talked to his people in the church, this should go to wherever they have registered to go and vote. The members of the church, I told you go and vote there, I told you go and vote for this. No, a religious leader doesn't do that.
We want us to understand that the imams, the religious leaders generally, they have very, very important roles to play. And one of such roles is to encourage participation. The religious leader should avoid endorsements, especially endorsements that are induced by bribery. We should avoid being deceived or being distracted by the politicians. The pulpit should not be a campaign podium. We must understand that we have a responsibility towards Almighty Allah, towards Almighty God. We also have responsibility towards our followers. National unity should be the focus of religious or political differences. As a religious leader, you have to be firm, you have to be strong, you have to be faithful, you have to be honest, you have to be diligent, and you have to show the example of godliness at all times without any fear or favor of anyone.
It is therefore advisable for politicians to desist from enticing the royal fathers as well as religious leaders into partisan politics. The sanctity and neutrality of our traditional and religious institutions should be preserved. This will make them remain functional as one of the trustworthy support systems in our communities and the nation at large.
Yeah, traditional and religious institutions should be there to guide the people. And these institutions should be apolitical at this time. They should just be there as guides to the people so that they will do the right thing. And now we're in digital world. And now the media space is now tilted towards the social media. And the social media, of course, play a very critical role in shaping the election, shaping the decisions of the electorate. In the course of the week, we had a conversation with Saliu Mustafa. He's a member of the APC. Let's see what he's got to say on this same issue of roadmap to 2023 general elections as we all yearn for good Nigeria of our dream.
Every nation has its challenges. So Nigeria is not an exemption of nations that are going through or that have gone through several challenges. The most important thing is how well are we able to manage the country so as to be able to remain as one. And most importantly, you will give credit to the present administration in trying to see that whatever situation we found ourselves, we've been able to relate as one, as brothers and sisters. Although it's not a very rosy or good story, but we will continue to appreciate and continue to give thanks to the Almighty. Nigeria has come a long way, such that when people sometimes wake up and say, I'm this, I'm that, or you are not my tribe, or we don't share the same religion, these are people who are only talking from their own myopic view. Nigeria has gone beyond that. There has been intermarriages such that Muslims have married Christians, Yorubas have married Fulanis, Fulanis have married Igbos, Igbos have married Ogoja. So we are interwoven in different ways now. So the most important thing is we should continue to see ourselves as one, appreciate what God has given to us as our strength and our cultural values, rather than looking at the little mundane issues. So that is what I tell people always, and that is why I always encourage or put the charge forward that we should try and start a national reorientation to see ourselves as one, to live as a unified community, not as a divided community. Because our diversity is also a strength. But if we fail to look at it from that angle, we look at it as a minus, then we will not grow beyond the challenges we are facing. I'm one man who has always preached a violence-free politics. For me, it's not a do or die affair contest. I've always approached things with the spirit of a sportsman. If we can encourage sportsmanship spirit in whatever we do, especially in politics, where people will go for a game, after the game, both the winner and the losers will hug and shake hands and say next time. In fact, the losers sometimes go home to train better. So if we look at it from that angle, that it is all about coming to give service, coming to serve the people, then nobody will have any ill or bring in some funny motives to make it a do or die. The most important thing is that I've come to serve the people, trying to make life better for my people. By the time we all approach it from that angle, if it is this person's turn today to offer his service, fine. Tomorrow it might be yours. Next tomorrow it might be hers, or it might be somebody else. So we should always look at it from that angle. But when you see people who fight or who come about this do or die, or they bring violence in, then it's not about service. They have something else they are coming there for. My slogan is doing it differently. Why? I believe a lot of people have come with a lot of campaign promises. And that is why I'm a living testimony. I'm not in office yet, but whatever I can do to improve upon my immediate environment, I've always done. And one of my driving principle is let people see what you can even offer before you get to office. How well or what have you done? Show us one trademark of something you've been able to achieve. And that is why I have always come out differently. And that is why my slogan is doing it differently. It's unfortunate that the electorates too are to be blamed sometimes. You celebrate people when they've not even delivered, when they've not achieved anything. We live in a society whereby today, if you have been appointed, not even you have been elected, you have been appointed to a certain position, and you are supposed to be there to do a certain job, responsibility on you. Your community, your school alumni, your friends will start celebrating you. People should be celebrated after they have finished the assignment given to them. Then we can see their pass mark, or we can look at their record sheet and say, okay, you did well, you didn't do well. This is the only country where
Immediately somebody is given a position or elevated to a position, the first thing you will see is community will come and pay him homage. His school alumni will come and they will be hosting him for a reception. What has he has not done anything yet, and you're already celebrating him. Let us see how well his report card will be able to tell of him. So I think I will encourage our people, the electorate, the citizens, that always wait. Don't be too much in a rush. Let whoever has been elected, appointed, or been given any responsibility, let him go finish. By the time he finishes, then we can say, he did very well, he excelled very well. Then we can host him. And maybe this will also make people to start becoming very conscious. Because when they see that, this person finished this position or this assignment, nobody was happy with him. Some people will say, I'm not going there tomorrow, so I don't want anybody to even. Because some people have even done well for themselves. They are at the tail end, they will mess themselves up. For me, whatever I will promise is what I believe I can do. And that is why I don't promise things beyond my reach. Today, as God will have it, I am contesting for the Senate of Kwara Central. I can't go and start promising people heaven and earth. I'm going to be a legislator. My first task will be lawmaking. And in the process, I should be able to use that opportunity to attract empowerment, MDGs programs, and also protect and see that I promote laws and sustainable policies for the well-being of the people. I can't start promising I will come and build a CBN branch or I will bring international airport there. So the electorate too should start sieving, reading in between the lines. What is this man going for? He's going to be a legislator. So why is he promising us airport? Why is he promising us what he cannot even deliver? Well, to be very honest, we are losing our values. It's unfortunate I have to come on this sad note. I'm very passionate and I'm very positive about things. But today, we are beginning to lose our values. And it is from the family background. Parents these days believe I've made money, I've sent my children to school, the school must take charge. No. The school cannot be 100% in charge of your child's well-being or what he becomes. Parents don't want anybody to scold their children anymore. When I was growing up, if we go out to misbehave and somebody calls us or somebody disciplines us, we dare not come home to tell our parents. That means you have spoiled their name outside. In fact, you will receive double again. But these days, we don't want anybody to scold our children. In the process, they are growing up to become something else. There is no magic. It is what we are promoting that the country will end up benefiting, or that is the outcome that will definitely, that's the general outcome we will get. So we must go back and look at our value system so that people can appreciate who they are, where they are coming from. Now, there are people you will give job to. All he's thinking of is what he can squeeze, how he can just get money out of your pocket. He's not thinking of giving you the best because he doesn't derive joy from what he does for a living. As far as he's concerned, he's just doing that job because of condition. Any strata now you find yourself, anybody you are better than in the society now just believes that you must have cheated. Now why not him? So these are some of the things we need to start a general reorientation. Let people start knowing the importance of value system. And let people know that we cannot all be there. When I was growing up, if you ask us in primary school, what do you want to be? Some of us will say, I want to be a police officer. Some will say, I want to be a mechanic. These days now, if you ask children in primary school, none of them will, everybody is thinking of, I want to be a governor. I want to be the president. I want to be a billionaire. They don't want to know. In fact, nobody sees any pride in certain profession, and we can't all be there. If you look at even in the advanced society, it's not because some of them became professors or they worked in certain institution, NNPC, or the politician that they are rich. It's about being innovative. The technical schools are no longer, nobody wants to even go there because nobody is being innovative. Nobody wants to start anything. So for me, I think we have a lot. We need to, both from the family background, from our educational system, to start to inculcate that value system in our children. Some of us have always identified or we share ideological conviction with the present head of state or president. When we were growing up, when he came up with the war against indiscipline, it was something that even in school then, if we don't talk in, our principal or our headmaster will punish us. That value grew up with at that time was something we really enjoyed. And it really, I mean, it's shaping some of us. You queue up for everything then. But all of a sudden we lost it. So it's very important. It's a key ingredient in any society, value system.
Some words of advice and insights to some national issues there by Salihu Mustafa, a member of the APC. Now we cannot exhaust the issue of peace accord since it has come to become part of our electoral process. Now, can the signing of the peace accord actually be a panacea to violence in our electoral process? Now, let's go to Sokoto, where one of the members of the National Peace Committee, that is in person of Bishop Matthew Kuka, will be telling us some of the issues surrounding the signing of the peace pact. How important is this peace pact to our electoral process, and what impact has it actually made? NTA Sokoto will tell us more.
Peace is an essential ingredient for democracy. The process to ensure democratically elected candidates peacefully emerge at the polls may be challenged due to conflicting interests from different political parties. Thus, the constitution of the National Peace Committee by some eminent Nigerians.
Our responsibility and our business in the Peace Committee is to continue to encourage Nigerians, that this is our country. This is a duty that we owe ourselves, we owe our families, we owe our country, and we owe generations still unborn. You might as well ask, when people get married and they invite people to come and witness is it a ritual? It is a ritual, but it's also, every ritual has its own rules and regulations, and every ritual has a predetermined outcome. That is that, first, it is the political actors that are the center of the signing of the peace accord. And the peace accord carries a moral burden, which is that people who have stepped forward to participate in politics in Nigeria must understand and appreciate that ordinary people need to be respected, and that it is their business and their responsibility to deal with issues of politics in the most civil manner.
The Independent National Electoral Commission is tight-set on preparations for the 2023 election.
We need the peace before election. We need the peace during election. We need the peace after election. What I'm trying to say here is, in our preparatory activities related to electoral matters, regarding training, procurement, all sorts of meetings with stakeholders that before election, we want peace there. Then the campaign by political parties or by candidates, we need peace, peaceful campaign.
Upon tradition for political parties to sign the peace accord, one wonders what's on the minds of political parties who are major stakeholders of peace.
If you look at the antecedents of PDP,
from the 2015 general election, what President Goodluck Jonathan has did, it has shown the capacity of PDP to accept the result, the outcome of any result. Therefore, as a party and as players in this party, we are ready to accept whatever the outcome of the result may be. We are making unnecessary commitment for peace train before, during, and after the 2023 elections.
Our party has been working day in, day night to ensure that peace reign in the state, more especially with regard to issues that may arise that has to do with the ethnicity, religion, and all other issues that has to do with conflict. We are ever ready and we will accept the result.
To ensure peace reigns come 2023 general election, all stakeholders must adhere to cautions from the body of eminent Nigerians who form the Peace Committee.
Yeah, the Peace Pact, though may not have a very strong backing of the law, but it has become a moral burden and obligation that is binding on political players. Now, let's talk about what binds us together as a nation. I'm always excited about this. When we're talking about what binds us together, we're talking about music, sports, entertainment, and all that. Let's now join Ene Onobu, who has compiled all these things that bind us together.
Nigeria, we hail thee. The journey to success has so many twists, turns, and ups and downs. No matter how long the journey takes, how it ends is the pointer. Nigeria is now 62. Suffice to say, much is still left to be done, though in all of this, the nation is still standing strong in spite of contrary opinions of impending doom, national catastrophe, and disintegration.
These perspectives have been fueled by individual opinions, feeling that the challenges we deal with as a country is by virtue of some forced amalgamation, but that is not the case. The problem here is the founding fathers had their intention behind the amalgamation. Even though there are theories as regards whether it was a business decision, whether it was for unity as a factor or whatever, the thing is Nigeria exists now as a country encompassing all of these regions. But I feel why it is more prevalent now is because the voices of the people are beginning to come out more often.
As people often say, Nigeria is a nation of peculiar people who will never give up no matter what. In spite of glaring challenges, Nigeria is one African nation that has carved a niche and gained respect for herself in the world of music, sports, medicine, technology, and interestingly, in the area of culture.
Whenever Nigeria had a game, whether in the AFCON or in the Olympics or in the World Cup, when we still were qualified for the World Cup, you could literally see a viewing center with people from different cultures, people from different regions coming together. That in itself goes back to my initial point of saying, when such activities happen, nobody's looking for individuality. Where is Nigeria winning? Nobody's saying is the player from Niger State the one that is going to score. I don't know if you get what I mean. So we had a confluence point for that. And the same thing can be said for the entertainment sector. When you look at the entire achievements we're making as a country globally, nobody is saying Susan and movie was nominated for an Oscar or was presented even for consideration because it was a northern film or because it was a southern movie. It's a Nigerian movie made the consideration list. And the same was celebrated when we won our Grammys. The same was celebrated when we had, the little wins we had in the Olympics, down to our bronze medals and the rest.
You see a northern man wear the Jonathan dress with his cap, and when he comes out, you will not even know that he's from the north. You see the southwest person come out to dress in that attire, you will not even believe that he's from the southwest. Now, for food, the entire Nigeria knows about akara. The northern person eats akara and cocoa. Somebody from the southeast eats the same thing. Somebody from the west, they eat the same thing. So the unifying thing is food, and it has played a major role.
This indeed have formed the basis of what makes us strong as a nation, and they remain the unifying factors in our national coexistence. No doubt, when Nigeria finds herself on the international stage, at that moment, tribe, ethnicity, religion matter less. But the green, white, green matters most. Nigeria becomes first, above all. What else could be more patriotic and self-giving than that?
I think the diasporans, they carry it more on their shoulder. They believe it is their responsibility to make sure that Nigerian flag is being flown high outside the country. So I believe we in Nigeria, we should do the same. We are going to be 62 and it's not easy. We have to work towards making things work right and achieving a better Nigeria for everyone to live in.
We are who we are. Proud, bold, strong, beautiful, resilient, and will-spirited. For as long as Nigeria remains undivided, in one accord, and weathering all manner of storms, the nation remains unstoppable and formidable. The last lines of the last stanza of the Nigerian national anthem says it all. With lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice reign.
Yes, we are who we are as Nigerians, and we should always relish on our beauty and our successes in the world of sports, music, entertainment, and even in our culture. Art is life, life is art. So let's quickly look at this Creole exhibition, Finding Christ. It's an art exhibition.
This is Jesus washing the disciples' feet. It looks so real. Like, it looks like in the past. Look at how they describe, look at how they did.
Christian art is a sacred art that uses themes and images in Christianity with the aim of connecting believers to the spiritual through the art, which was the focus of the Creole art exhibition put together by the Family Worship Center, WUYE, and the Society of Nigerian Artists, themed Finding Christ.
Creole is a Greek word that means creativity. And so the church thought it well to just showcase the creativity of all the talented people in church and outside the church. I mean, this year's theme is Finding Christ. You either find Christ through joy, find Christ in sorrow, find Christ in tears through the turns and twists and turns of life. Either way, you find Christ. You can find Christ in the marketplaces. You can find Christ even through your personal experience.
Art is often thought of as something decorative, a beautiful afterthought. But Creole Christian Art Exhibition is a great way to evangelize and spread the word of Christ through the beautiful Christian-themed works, thereby leading believers and non-believers to finding Christ.
Oh, this thing looks so real. Yes, it's Jesus washing his disciples' feet.
This is very special to me right now. And for somebody who doesn't know what is happening here, this is Jesus washing the feet of a disciple. Basically, this is a picture of servanthood. It's a picture of servanthood. Jesus is telling all of us to become servants. And the reason I'm excited about this right now is that I understand that the campaigns for the different offices, political offices, started today. And I hope they are all campaigning to come and be servants, not leaders.
Charcoal on paper is a drawing that we made in relation with the theme Finding Christ. The title of the drawing is Ease. So what inspired this art? I think every Christian has experienced this state, like when you're finding Christ and in the midst of all the chaos, the troubles and everything, the moment you find Christ, you find ease.
The Faith Comes by Hearing series is a series I've been doing. So we have an individual with a headphone that is plugged into the Bible. So he's listening to the Word of God, building himself up. Then there is the Daniel and the lion den setting as well. So we have these lions surrounding this very individual, but it is not Daniel, but it's the same plot. All right. Now, what he's doing is he's listening to the Word of God, and if you look on the floor, you notice that there is a circle of some sort that separates him from the lions. So he's building himself up. Psalm 23 is where it is actually themed from. A table is set before me, right in the presence of my enemies. It's a bold step to actually be eating pounded yam, where you have a pride of lions. If you concentrate and feed yourself and feed your spirit with the Word of God, you will be able to overcome them without them even doing anything to you.
Because of the current situation we find ourselves country today. And I use this opportunity to present this painting to the public, just to express my grief and the only solution, a way to solve the problem we find ourselves in the country, which is to pray. So I find this as an opportunity for me to express myself through this painting.
What interests me is how you can use what appears to be the secular to speak to the spiritual. And it also shows the source of all creative talents and inspiration that is from God. And the artists here have been able to point us to God. They've pointed us to the cross, and I think that is quite profound. In a very subtle way, this is evangelism on canvas.
Christian art exhibitions are aimed at exploring aspects of Christian life with paintings that give people hope and compassion, where the church and art meets. Ultimately, a call to come to Christ and receive salvation, while helping our understanding about our Savior Jesus Christ.
Beautiful works of art there put together by Ko Ejire. It's been Weekend Deal on the network service of the NTA. Thank you so much for being part of the show. The conversation had been Roadmap to 2023 general elections, and we're looking at electorates, Nigerians going to the polls that to elect leaders that will take us to that promised land. That is Nigeria of our dream. Thank you for being part of the show. I'm Shikiola Ikulaye. Join us.